Hey everybody, Brenda Stokes, owner and creator of Piano and Voice with Brenda and Piano Skills for Singers. It's Monday, so I'm going to jump on, do a little motivational Monday. It's a miserably rainy, awful day here in New York City, but we just had a 4-day weekend because we had our American Thanksgiving holiday, so I'm feeling fresh and ready to do some cool stuff. So I'm really super excited to announce that the new course is live. Crash Course in Solfege Minor Edition is here. And I'm sort of doing a soft release of it right now. You can get the course for $22, which is like just ridiculously cheap for how much material there is. I have never turned a course around this quickly before. I released Crash Course in Solfege Major Edition about 5-6 weeks ago, something like that, and immediately got a flood of emails from people saying, when is the minor edition coming out? And I was like, oh crud. I was gonna wait another 6 months, but I guess I'll do it now. So I somehow managed to get that all done, which I'm very proud of myself for being able to do. So it is live. Crash Course in Solfege Minor Edition covers the 3 most commonly used minor scales in Western music. So we use natural minor, also known as Aeolian. We use the harmonic minor scale, and we use the melodic minor scale. And so I go through all of the exercises in great detail. So there's 3 separate sections where I go through all of the exercises. So by the time you're finished the course, you will be able to get inside the minor scale and sing like nobody's business. All right. So one of the questions that's come up a few times is like, well, why solfege? I was very fortunate to study solfege privately in Toronto somewhere in my early 20s. I guess I was 21 or 22, and I spent 6 months studying solfege. And it's a sort of a funny story. I was dating a guy at the time who this jazz trumpet player, and he was gifted a bunch of lessons with this guy in Toronto, Art Levine, and I said to him, well, what are the lessons? And he's like, I don't really know. And he went to the lesson, and it was a solfege thing. And he says, I have no idea what this is for or why I'm doing it, but I'm just going to do it for a little while because I was told, by the person that gifted him the lessons that this was going to have a real impact. And I got sort of jealous because it sounded really cool. And so I signed up and started taking lessons. And I think I actually studied with Art longer than the guy did. And solfege was a really powerful tool for me. It had a dramatic impact on my understanding of the notes and how they relate to each other. And at that time I was doing a little bit of singing, but I wasn't really doing choral singing or anything like that. But I was mostly playing the piano, and I found that my capacity on the piano really improved, like expanded a lot because of the solfege training. And we sang a variety of exercises to get inside. We lived primarily in the major scale at that time. And then we sang through a bunch of excerpts of Bach cantatas, little bits of Bach pieces in movable do solfege. And I spent the summer doing it. I sang just page after page after page of this stuff, and it really expanded my ears. And it's something that I've had in my pocket, in my toolbox, that I've been using with my students since then I've been using it with my students. And generally we would think of solfege as something that you would do if you were a classical singer, or if you were going to be singing in a chorus, right? That's sort of where you'd think of using it. But I've used it for everybody. So I have lots and lots of students who are singer-songwriters, who are music theater singers, who are avocational singers, who are just wanting to sing for fun. They're singing some jazz songs that they like. They're, lots of people who are not trying to work on their sight singing. You sort of think of solfege and, oh, it must be a sight singing thing. It's actually a way of really developing your inner ear so that you can hear intervals. Oh, hey, Holly, thanks for saying hi. So solfege is a way to develop an intervallic relationship within the scale. And the syllables have a certain amount of magic to them. You say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And the do and the kind of solfege that we do in the course is movable do solfege. So, hi Craig, thanks for watching. We're talking about solfege now. So when we think about movable do solfege, if we're in the key of C, then C is do. And if we're in the key of G, then G is do, and etc. And so the solfege sets up a level of understanding to the inner workings of the scale, to the intervallic relationships to the note and how they relate to do and how they relate to each other. And that's what solfege is for. And so over the years, I've been using this with singer-songwriters, with avocational singers, with jazz people. It's amazing for jazz people. And we sing through a series of exercises that I've designed, relatively simple exercises that we've designed. There's only 4 of them that I've created, where you sing the scale, you sing a couple of patterns, and the patterns are there to get you to really get inside the scale and start to understand kind of how everything is working through. And then at the same time, I use the Kodai hand sign. So Zoltan Kodai was a pedagogue and a composer. He did a lot of really amazing things, and he created this set of hand signs that actually go along with solfege to teach it. And again, it's a way of teaching people how the notes relate to each other, how they relate to the scale. So for example, you know, do is the fist, right? And it sort of shows you a solid home. So it's teaching you that do has a home feeling, has a resting feeling. And then if you look at fa, right, it shows you that where does it want to resolve? It's a moving note that wants to resolve down to mi. And so that's what all of this is for. And it's a really fail-proof system that has worked for absolutely everyone. And I'll give you a couple of examples of how I've used it. So I've had several singer-songwriters that have come to me who are writing their own music, but they're having a very difficult time kind of committing to melodies. They sort of have ideas for melodies, but they can't really commit to them. And part of the reason for that is that they weren't having a solid enough relationship with a major scale that they were able to commit to a melody. And so over the course of several weeks through our lessons, I would have them sing these exercises, and I would sing them into the recorder for them, and they would go home and they would practice them. And we would just do like 10 minutes per lesson on it. So the lesson was for technique and for songwriting, for other stuff. But all we would do was just use like 5 or 10 minutes of a lesson to work through this material. And then I would have them practice it, just same thing, 5 or 10 minutes a day, every day. And then over the course of a few weeks or a couple of months, things would start to shift. All of a sudden, their capacity for writing melodies, they were able to hear the melodies clearer, and they were able to identify the melodies that they were wanting to write. And it was sort of one of those things that just sort of gradually happened over time, and then all of a sudden they would say, I have no idea what's going on, but all of a sudden I'm able to, just my melodies are so much clearer. So that's one way that it's helped. Another way is for singers who have pitch issues, which is like all of us. We all have pitch issues at some point. And a lot of times pitch issues can be a technical problem. So if you're not able to transition through your middle of your voice, or if you don't have a head register, but even if you work your voice out and your voice is in really good shape, if you don't have a real understanding for what the notes of the scale are supposed to sound like and how they relate to each other, you're just gonna have pitch issues. And so once again, it's something that helps 5 or 10 minutes a day. It's something that I would weave into our lessons in a little bit at a time. And then over a period of time, the singer would report back and say, yeah, you know, it's the strangest thing. All of a sudden, my pitch issues have gone away. So that's how solfege has really worked. And I'll give you one more example of sort of like the non-traditional way of using solfege. For singers who are singer-songwriters, for people who are maybe singing in a rock band, for people, music theater singers, who are maybe very secure singing solos, but then they're in an ensemble situation and they have a hard time being able to harmonize. Solfege is like an amazing tool for that as well, because once again, once you're hearing inside the scale and you're outlining the chords in solfege, then when it comes time for you to harmonize, thanks Craig, thanks for dropping in. So when it comes time to harmonize, you have something to harmonize with. You have notes that you can use. It's sort of deepening your ability to kind of hear and understand pitch. So anyways, after all these years of teaching this, I was noticing that it was sort of coming up more and more in my studio. And so as I did with the rest of my courses, I thought it would be interesting to see if I could make this material available to a wider audience, because a lot of what I need to do is just sort of explain what this is for, talk you through it, and then you practice it a bunch until it kind of becomes part of your system. And so each of the solfege courses, this is exactly what they do. I talk you through everything. There's a pretty solid introduction in both of them where I explain how everything works, where it comes from, who Kodai is, what the hand signs are for, how they work, all that kind of stuff. And then I sing through all of the exercises, breaking them down piece by piece. And then a wonderful friend of mine checked out the course and said, this sounds really great, but I wish that there was a male voice also singing the exercises, because I have a student who has a hard time matching pitch with a female voice. So I, of course, was like, that's an amazing idea. And so I hired 2 different baritone singers, Nicholas Alinshu, who sings on Crash Course in Solfege, the major edition, and Dylan Pramick, who's an amazing singer too, who sings on Crash Course in Solfege minor edition. Okay, and so it again gives you an opportunity, if you have a lower voice or you're a male voice, a baritone tenor singer, that you will be able to have maybe an easier time matching pitch with that, and then you can come back and sing with me again afterwards. Or for my soprano and alto singers who want kind of a deeper challenge or want to get used to singing with a male voice, you could do all of the exercises along with them. So that's my sort of solfege conversation. So far, I have a whole wide range of people that are using this. They're using it for their own purposes. I also have a bunch of teachers, voice teachers, piano teachers are actually using it as a way to sort of develop deeper ear training with their piano students. I think there's a couple of saxophone players who are taking it now too, so it's good for everybody to develop that inner ear hearing through singing. And I also have a whole bunch of teachers who have been using it. Some of them have been using the material in their chorus classes or their vocal classes. They're using them as warm-ups with their students. And then a few other, a bunch of people have been recommending it to their students to take as sort of a supplement to what they're doing, because maybe they don't have time in their actual lesson slot to be able to address all of this, but they have students that really need this information. They maybe need some remedial support in harmony, in the scale, or they need to get kind of up to speed with like getting ready for sight singing or anything like that. And so a lot of people have been recommending this to their students, so that their students are taking it kind of independently of the lessons. So anyways, this is my spiel on why I think solfege is the magic bullet for so many things. Right at the moment, both courses are super cheap for the next week. Crash Course in Solfege Major Edition is only $12. Crash Course in Solfege Minor Edition is only $22, and it's more expensive because it is 3 different entire sections, one for each of the minor scales. So I cover the natural minor scale, the harmonic minor scale, and the melodic minor scale, so the one that's different, ascending and descending. If anyone has any questions about this or is curious as to some other uses for this material, you're welcome to just leave a comment below. If you have any other questions about this musicianship stuff, please reach out. I'm super enthusiastic about building these skills. Once again, if you're not planning to go on and do a lot of sight singing, like if you're not planning to be a chorister or you're not going to be doing a lot of sight singing, this course is sort of an end unto itself. You would practice this material a little bit every day until you've got it, and then once you've got it, you've got it. You can bring it back into your practice for a little while. Some people use this material as something they do. They do their vocal warm-up for the day. They do 5 minutes or 3 minutes of solfege training, and then they move on with their work. So it's sort of one of those things that once you have it, you've got it, and it's a skill that you have. Unfortunately, it's not like going to the gym where you have to go every day. It's something that you sort of do. Anyways, I hope this is helpful information. As always, you can reach out to me. You can check out my website, pianoandvoicewithbrenda.com. Check out all of the course listings there. And if anyone has any particular questions you'd like me to address, I would absolutely be happy to do either a live stream or create some kind of a video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and enjoy your Monday. I hope this has been motivating.